Goldlewis Dickinson is a character that can win off of getting a single knockdown because the following combo will either kill you or put you in range of dying to the next 50-50 he will hit you with. By having so much bullshit blazing, I'm convinced he's Daisuke's favorite with how much he has to help him win, or at the very least, piss off your opponent because you undid half a round of disadvantage by landing a straight hit and churning butter. Wait, why does that sound familiar? Wait a minute, I didn't make this video to tell you how busted Goldlewis is. I'm sure you found out firsthand that this swing is an overhead and this one is a low. Actually, I lied. That one is also an overhead, he just jumped over you so it looks like the low. The question I'm trying to answer is, why the hell does nobody play this character? Look, I'm not one to question my blessings, but with everyone else I had an idea why, whether it was because they were too complex, underpowered, or just looked odd on the character select screen. So let me ask you again, why does nobody play this character? The only way to find out was to play him myself. I mean, how hard can he be? I can read above a 3rd grade level, and all you have to do to play him is win neutral and then they die. Wait a minute, I have to play neutral? I start to quiver as he translates his pulsing cylinder through the soaking bisector of my oh, whoa, hey, I was just, catching up on some light reading. So, I mean, since you're here, why don't you have a seat by the fireplace? Well, it's not an electric heater, it's a fireplace. Let me tell you a story. A different story. A story about a man who confused the character's silliness with ease of use. This tale begins on a cold winter day, not unlike today, in a lobby with our hero and his friends. The skin I'm wearing was a Santa Claus mod made locally by the homie. I'll leave a link in the description below for you to download. I found my answer as to why nobody plays him almost immediately upon playing a couple rounds as him. Goldlewis is a character balanced around his insane reward off of any hit, and because of that, he's hard to land a hit with unless you spend resources. And when you can't capitalize on his hits, you have to spend more resources, and if you fail to capitalize on hits well, Goldlewis is just a big slow bully victim for your opponent. This awful first impression he leaves when first playing him contributes to the reason you don't see a lot of Goldlewis's outside of a prominent level. I've played him a bit before and would have bounced off of him like everyone else, but there was one fact that bothered me too much to drop him. Goldlewis is good for a reason. There has to be a reason people play this character, choose him over the rest of the cast, and stick with him for hundreds, if not thousands of hours. I was determined to find that reason firsthand. The second day was different. My only combo was still 2k2d, but with one added Typhoon. I actually had an advantage to press instead of just letting my opponent walk free after landing a hit. It's a far cry from actual Goldlewis gameplay, but I was having fun again. Even if most of my damage is just from reversal supers. Side note, using wake up reversals and the threat of them are a skill I severely lack since the majority of my time playing this game, none of these characters I've used had them. Getting better with Goldlewis is jolly and all, but contrary to popular belief, Guilty Gear is a 2-player game. If one person improves, then so will the other. Once the homie had an idea of how to deal with Goldlewis, the onus was back on me to tighten up my offense, neutral, and most importantly, my disadvantage state. For a Secretary of Defense, his defensive options really suck. He has the agility of a skyscraper, meaning you have to fight your way out of the corner, but his buttons are slow as hell and his 2P can be 6-speed. The silver lining is that half of his buttons are anti-airs, which is great because you can control the entire ground for a few seconds with drone. But you need space to use drone, so if you don't have space, you die. Until you get meter. Okay, we know Guilty Gear is a low damage game, where the winner of a round is determined by many small interactions won throughout the course of a round. But even so, I found myself more often than not being surprised at how quickly a round is won when I'm playing Goldlewis. I know some people live for those kinds of wins where a single touch means game and they just wait for that one pivotal moment that defines the entire match. When that comeback is a single combo that kills them or it makes them guess for game, it doesn't feel right. If I had to try and explain this, it would be a lack of proper tension. Imagine this. You queue up into a game and your opponent is a Potemkin who's already gone through 6-pack of Elmers and half of his crayons in this session alone. The first round goes like this. On round start, you're scooped. Kara Pot Buster round start, alright? And then you're scooped again on wake up. You don't want to be scooped a third time, so you jump, because 1, it would be embarrassing to get scooped a third time, and 2, he might keep scooping you until you do something about it. What you might not have noticed is that 2 scoops is all it takes to get 50% tension, and now you have to sit through a super that you already know will kill you for as long as and you have to sit through that animation for as long as the entire round was before that super was used. Let me ask you this. Would you be on the edge of your seat, heart pounding, sweating profusely as this happened to you? Would you even be that way if you were the one doing it? Probably not. And I'll tell you why. It's because tensions rise when you're not getting hit, but the threat of death is high. Think being at a sliver of health in neutral, or being at high risk in the corner. It's that fear of what could be that raises our heart rate. The longer we're in their states, the more intense the situation gets. Getting hit releases that tension and brings you back to base level. But what does all of this have to do with Goldlewis? I have zero pressure with this character. I know he's a character known for locking you down with Guard Crush Behemoth Typhoons and all that, but I can't card a Typhoon, alright? I don't got it right now. There's no real tension, well, on my end, when I'm playing Goldlewis. They whiffed a button and then they died, or they dropped a combo and then they died. It's like, oh, they died. That's cool. Like that's the result of this. It makes me feel very apathetic towards my own victories. I just can't shake the feeling that I robbed my opponent. Don't get it twisted though. It's funny as hell when it does happen. It's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously winning is cool and all, but it's just, damn. Could have been cool, intense, sick. I don't know how to, I don't know if any of this makes sense, but that's how I feel. Despite being an executive member of the Grappler Hating Club, I should mention that this also applies to any character that can steamroll you in a couple of interactions, like Nago, Slayer, and even my main Zato. On the third and final day, not only was the Goldlewis mod complete, but my journey with him was coming to a close. I've come to understand how to play Goldlewis at a basic level, and more importantly, a better understanding of why people do and don't play Goldlewis despite him being a top 5 character for as long as we've known him. Day 3 was not a day of progress, but it's worth noting anyways. I switched to PS4 controller that day. What I noticed was that you can't actually play Goldlewis if you can't do half circles. That's just, can't do half circles, can't play Goldlewis. Can't do charge inputs, can't play Guile. Simple, right? I'm now starting to realize why grapplers usually have simpler combos. Like, they're not easy to play, so to speak, it's just, if they can get in, they should be able to hit you, right? That's how that works. Like, could you imagine how much it would suck to spend all this time getting in just to drop your combo, watch your opponent fly full screen to safety, and you just gotta make your way across the trenches all over again? Yeah, fuck that. I'll take my 40% from a 360, thank you. Goldlewis is not a grappler though. There's so much cool shit you could do with Behemoth Typhoon that is not only comically cheap, but also technically impressive. I'll leave a link to the clips I'm showing in the description, but I believe it's that room for growth and potential to win a round off of a hit you didn't even think would lead to a combo that keeps people playing him. Will I come back to this character? Probably, I mean, mostly against my friends in super casual sets when I want to try something stupid, but I'll come back to him at some point. All this funny shit like running overhead Typhoons and the stuff I showed you earlier with the overhead being low, but it looks identical to the low, but it's not really the low because he did it, but if you delete it a little bit, it actually becomes a low, and it's actually... Anyways, if this video made you interested in picking up Goldlewis, I apologize to your opponents in advance. But also, the Goldlewis Discord is a great resource for learning him. And so, the story ends with our hero realizing that the true meaning of Christmas is being a good person up until the last minute, where you decide to pick up Goldlewis and swing a coffin and call Thunderbird until you're all but guaranteed coal in your stockings. The end. Now, who's trying to read the rectangles longer than the square? To the Goldlewis mains out there, what was it like learning him for you? How similar was it to my story, and what's it like beyond that point? I'd love to know, so be sure to tell me in the comments. This is usually the part where I tell you to subscribe and find a clever way to compare this character to Happy Chaos, but I want to say something for those who need to hear it. Pick up a new character. It doesn't have to be Goldlewis or Bedman or anyone I've covered in this series. Hell, it doesn't even have to be Guilty Gear, or a fighting game for that matter. Picking up a new character is an opportunity to relive the experience of trying out the game for the first time, but with a renewed perspective of experience with the game. Think of it as kind of a new game plus. I don't care if you don't believe you can play anyone else, or you're still fine-tuning your set play, or waiting to be good enough, blah 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 blah. I don't care if you've sunk a million hours in your rank 1 with your one trick. Hell, that might be more of a reason to try out a new character. Your main isn't going anywhere, and that fresh perspective might teach you a thing or two about the game your main never could. The best case scenario is you find a new main that complements your playstyle in a way you previously didn't think possible. The worst case scenario is you go back to your main knowing that's the only character for you, which is still better than not trying at all. Anyway, Leo's next, and after that I'm going to be doing videos on characters you guys want next, since I might as well do the rest of the cast, but it would be kind of weird talking about why nobody plays Kai or Soul. And I still want to compare how the characters are perceived at a higher level compared to how they are in a casual setting, but Anyway, that's for next time. Until then, you have yourself a damn good one. It doesn't.
I got this.
Yeah, that does.